Hi everybody, it's Chelsea and I have a story to tell you. It's officially been like 3 weeks since I moved into this apartment thing. The first week was really strange and I have to tell you about it. In case you didn't know, in case you're new here, whatever. I've been living on the road for the last 3 years out of a little camper trailer, just pulling it everywhere across the country. I was trying to go to all the national parks, didn't go to all the national parks, but went to a lot of them and had a lot of really gnarly experiences. And so I recently moved into an apartment, which is really just a small section of a really big old historic house in my hometown. And I guess I'm still kind of having some gnarly experiences because the first week of me living here did not go as smoothly as you would anticipate a first week to go. I mean, moving is already stressful, but to add on things like what happened during my first week is just adds to the stressful levels. So one of the first days that we were here and moving in furniture and stuff, Joey was outside working on a car, and this woman walked by and was like, "Hey," and introduced herself to him. I was inside unpacking boxes, blah blah blah, but he told me about this later. So this lady came up to him and said, "Hey, my name's so and so. Let's just call her Charlie for this video." So she said, "Hey, my name is Charlie, and in case you didn't know, since you're a new tenant, some of the other people that live in this house have been letting me sleep on the porch or in the front door, foyer, the entrance of the house." She's like, "I'm homeless and the landlord knows, and it's totally cool." And so Joey was kind of weird about it, but it really was, since the landlord knew, he was just kind of whatever, okay, I guess, He ended up telling me about it later, and I was like, man, I don't really know if I'm cool with that, because here, I feel I have sympathy for this lady. I have sympathy for everyone that is homeless and finds themselves in that type of situation. It's really unfortunate and really sucks, but also at the same time, I didn't want to walk out with Banks and have Banks be startled by her in the middle of the night if I had to take Banks to pee or something, and I didn't want Banks to think there was an intruder and potentially hurt her or whatever. I didn't want to accidentally trip over her or anything. I was kind of not cool with it in a way, but I was down to help her. So later that day when she came over and was talking and everything, I can't remember if it was the same day or the next day, but either the same day or the next day, I ended up meeting Charlie, and she introduced herself, and I was surprised. She was really well spoken and no sign language, and wasn't, she just didn't seem, she definitely seemed like this hadn't been her whole life. Something had happened that led her to this position, because she was, on first impression, she seemed like she would do really well in a work environment or anything. And not to go off of stereotypes for homeless people or whatever. I'm not saying that they're not well-spoken people or whatever, but she had specific skills that I feel could be really beneficial in an office environment. Skills such as knowing sign language and stuff like that, cool skills. So she was talking to a friend of mine who was over helping me unpack boxes and whatever, and she gave him one name, and then she gave me a different name. And so then when she gave me the name of Charlie, and then my friend heard that, my friend was like, "Hey, you told me your name was Chloe." She was like, "Oh, it's because I had a bad experience here one time, and the landlord knows me by the name of Charlie, so now I just tell everyone that my name is Chloe so that I can still stay here and I don't get in trouble." Okay? Well, I had remembered Joey telling me that she told Joey that she was totally allowed here. The landlord didn't care, it was totally fine, whatever. So things are starting to not add up, I guess. Well, the next day she was over, and the landlord was supposed to come by to drop off my set of keys. But Charlie was here, and she said, "Hey, I heard that the landlord's supposed to be coming by later. I'm just gonna hide upstairs until after she leaves. You know, don't tell her I'm here. She doesn't like it, but I'm upstairs. I'll just hide. And I was like, okay. So then the landlord came over a couple hours later, gave me my keys, and then the landlord went upstairs because she was wanting to like redo the countertops upstairs or something. And so she went upstairs and she found Charlie hiding in the bathroom, and then she kicked her out. And she said, you know, you can't be here. I know who you are. You can't really be squatting here. I guess what had happened was this apartment that I live in right now used to be just open all the time because my landlord lived in another town quite a ways away. So in order to like show the apartment, she would just say, yeah, it's unlocked, just go in. Well, Charlie had been living here, I guess, while there was no tenants, because there was that big yellow couch that I showed you guys in my last video, and she had just been staying on that couch. She didn't have any like of her own furniture set up, and there weren't like clothes hanging or anything like that, but she definitely would come in here, sleep, use the kitchen, use the laundry room, whatever. Okay, so anyway, the landlord escorted her out and then told her, I know who you are, you can't be here. So Charlie left, and then the landlord came down and was like, hey, I found a woman upstairs, she's not allowed to be here. She was explaining to me the whole situation, like, if you see her again, tell her she can't be here and tell her that you're gonna call the cops. I don't wanna get evicted. I've only been here for 3 days, so if the landlord is telling me that this person is not allowed in this house and that we need to start locking all the doors all the time, okay, I'll do it, because I don't want to get evicted. I just moved all my furniture in, and that sucked. So the landlord left. It was like pretty late by this time. It was like 9:30, and then all of a sudden, just ringing the doorbell a bunch, and whatever. And I guess the people that were living here before just left the front door open all the time, like unlocked. Well, when my landlord left the first time after kicking her out, she locked the door. So now Charlie's back trying to open the door, and it's locked because my landlord locked it. So she's ringing the doorbell a bunch, and I go outside. I'm trying to open the door, but I didn't realize that the top bolt had been bolted. So I'm just trying to undo the door to open the door, and the door is not opening. And so she's like, I left my stuff. So she was like, so I went and got her stuff, and I was like, meet me at the window, because I was going to open the window and just give her stuff because I couldn't open the door. Well, the windows were painted shut. Old house, I guess it happens, whatever. But then I was like, dang, what am I gonna do? Jesus, because this is the only way in and out of the house. Well, then one of the other roommates shows up, and I'm like, shit, now I really have to find a way to open the door. So I called the landlord, because Charlie told me to. Charlie told me to call and ask, how am I supposed to get out? So I called, and I was like, hey, Charlie's back, she's trying to get in. She said she left some stuff here. Yeah. And she's like, I'll be there in a second. So I hung up the phone, opened the door, let the roommate in. Charlie comes in. I was like, hey, I'm sorry. Yeah, she told me you couldn't be here. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want you to get in trouble. Whatever. I guess for future reference, like, you can't be here. She's like, well, I'm friends with one of the guys upstairs. I was like, yeah, but that guy's going to be gone for a couple of weeks. So I don't know what to tell you. Can't be here. Then the landlord shows back up and was like, why are you back? And we're all standing like in the front entry of the house. And Charlie was like, well, I'm friends with one of the guys upstairs, and he said that I could sleep here and whatever. And she was like, yeah, but he's a tenant. He doesn't own this house. I own this house, and I'm saying you can't be here. You're not paying rent. You don't have a lease. You can't live here for free. And she was like, yeah, but everyone in the house is cool with me being here. She was like, yeah, but I own the house, and I'm not cool with it, so you have to go. So she kicked Charlie out again, locked the door again, and then she herself left. The next morning at like 8 a.m., doorbell, 30 minutes straight, like, oh my God. So Joey gets out of bed, goes to the door, tells her, hey, I heard about all that happened last night. I'm sorry, but you can't be here. You gotta go. Filmed that, by the way. I know you can't really see much in the video, but it's just like a little piece of footage just so you know that like this happened. And Joey came back to bed, And then 5 minutes later, doorbell, going. I go out. We're tired. We just moved all our furniture the day. So I go out and I'm like, hey, if there's anything I can get you, because she had Joey go upstairs and bring down some stuff out of the fridge from upstairs. So he brought her fridge stuff. Now she's back again, ringing the doorbell. And I'm there and I'm like, hey, is there anything else I can get you? She's like, well, I just really need to use the bathroom before I'm on my way. And I was like, okay. So I let her in the bathroom, in the hallway, and I watched to make sure. And then she came back out, and then I told her, have a good day. Sorry about everything. I can drive you to the shelter. I offered to drive her to the shelter again, asked her again if she needed anything else. She said, no, I'm not allowed at that shelter. No, there's nothing else you can get me. She left. I went back to bed. Fast forward like 3:30 p.m. I'm on the front porch of the house. I'm talking on the phone with my brother. I've been like unpacking stuff all day, whatever. And now my brother calls me and I'm out on the front porch, sitting on the stairs talking to my brother. We're on the phone for like 30 minutes. And all of a sudden, out of the front door behind me, Charlie walks out onto the porch. I'm like, bro, how'd you get inside? So she was like, hey. I was like, oh man, hey. So I don't want to have to call the police, but I told you a couple times, this is like the 5th time someone's told you that like you can't be here. I don't want to have to call the police. I really don't want you to get in trouble, but you can't be here. And she's like, yeah, but some of my stuff is still upstairs in that guy's room. And I was like, well, that guy isn't here. He's not going to be here for like a while, like a couple of weeks. And that's what I was told. He was on vacation. And so he wasn't going to be here for a couple of weeks. So like, I don't know what to tell you, but you can't be here between now and then. And she's like, well, I'm just going to stop by every day and check to make sure and see if he's home. I was like, you can't do that. He's not going to be here. And you're not allowed here. And I don't want you to get in trouble. Plus, we both told you you can't come in this morning. And now you're walking out of the house. What's going on? And then she like walks down the stairs. And she's like going on her way, I guess. And the backs of her legs are just like bleeding. I was like, what was this woman doing? And then the next day, one of my roommates in the house was like, hey, Chelsea, come here. Gotta show you something. I was like, all right. He brings me in his bathroom, and there's like food in the trash can. And there's ants all over the walls, like crazy trails of ants everywhere. And he's looking inside the trash can. He's like, dude, she must have been here because no one else comes in here. He was aware at this point that she was not allowed in. And he brings it out to the front porch and he notices that the food that's in his bathroom trash can is a bunch of like smoked oysters out of a can. And they're just sitting in there and it smells so bad. So it's like oysters in her hair. And then like, I don't know if she was like, I don't know how, but when she was in his bathroom earlier, she was like bleeding out of the backs of her legs. And so there's like that situation. And then now the oysters and the smell. And my roommate just starts like getting sick. So he's like throwing up over the side of the porch, holding his trash can on one side, retching like to the other side. I'm just like, oh my God. And so like now he's pissed because like now she's starting to inflict on like his place where like he pays rent and she was staying in my place where I pay rent. And she kept telling me like, you know, I was supposed to get the apartment that you're in. I was supposed to live there. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I signed the lease. I don't know what to say. So anyway, the first week that we were here, we've been dealing with a woman named Charlie who was homeless, who has been using my apartment to squat in, showering, whatever. I paid the utilities here. And so like, if she comes in and is using a bunch of stuff, she's running up my utility bill. I was like, I definitely have a bunch of sympathy. I offered to drive her to the shelter and all this stuff or whatever, but like, I really can't afford to pay someone else's utilities and rent, you know? And so it should have been a whole ass thing. And then we had to change the locks and stuff to like all the apartments because one of my roommates told me that he saw her come out of my apartment after I had moved my stuff in. I had left to go somewhere and I locked my apartment door and everything. And while I was gone, he saw her come out of my door, which means that she had a key, which is crazy because this entire house has skeleton keys. So I don't know how she got a skeleton key. You can't just like get copies of those or whatever. But she had a key, let herself in. I don't know. Anyway, so that's been like the first week of me like living here, was trying to unpack everything and dealing with like moving into an old house and all the problems that an old house like comes with, but also having a homeless woman using my apartment to live in, and then trying to guilt me because I live here now. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, that's the story. That's what happened. It's been quite a week, and yeah, but look forward to next week, because now that I'm like moved in and stuff, I get to show you like how I'm starting to decorate, and oh my god, clearing everything out, trying to become a minimalist. So that's gonna be a whole video next week, becoming a minimalist. I'm trying really hard. Living on the road for 3 years, I had like such little space, and now I have all this space, and I'm finding out that everything that I put into storage now takes up all of this space, and I don't want it. So I'm trying to get rid of it. So watch me purge next week and like kind of have like a small emotional breakdown over like letting go of like clothes that I find really sentimental. I don't know. Guess I was kind of a hoarder in my past, trying not to do that anymore. But anyway, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you every Monday at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Promise I'll never do that again. Subscribe. Bye.